So today I'm going to show you why college acceptance boards should not accept ACT and SAT scores in their admissions program. So for my visual aid today, I have the number of students, number of student loan borrowers by age group. So you can see it's different 2007 to 2017. So definitely the student loans have gone up. So under 30 is actually the largest group by millions of students that owe loans and have the most loan debt. So, and their careers really haven't started yet, so they don't have enough money to pay off their loans. All right, so I think that these college admission boards should stop accepting the ACT and SAT because there are more important factors that go into the progress of students' high school careers, like GPA and extracurricular activities. So some people are here listening to this speech because they are on scholarships to go to college, to go to South, either way. Now, some people aren't on scholarships and they're taking out loans to be here. So actually, the Washington Post says that 12.7%, or 1 in 8 students, get an average of $4,202 a year, which is not enough, not even to go to South. So you're gonna have to find loans or other kinds of payment to pay that off. So even though a lot of us are actually going into debt taking these classes, we still want to get a higher education. So I've only gotten local scholarships from my hometown. I didn't get anything from South, so I kind of relate to that, and I just kind of want to spread awareness to people that don't really understand. So first, I'm going to be talking to you about why the ACT and SAT scores should not be used in the acceptance program into colleges. Next, I'm going to show you how high schools actually rely on test scores for funding for their schools. And then lastly, I'm going to show you why scholarships should be given based on GPA and extracurriculars rather than test scores. All right, so first, you should not have to rely on test scores to get into colleges or get money from colleges. So there's a quote here that says, "The standard error of measurement determines the range of possible accurate scores on a given area or sub-area of a test. This means that if the student took the test again, he or she is just as likely to earn a different score in this range," and that is from Abolishing the ACT and SAT. So these tests don't accurately reflect a student's progress in high school, and it doesn't accurately reflect their learning ability. All right, so another quote that I have from Chris Streetman from the same website, Abolishing ACT and SAT, it says, "The ACT provides a single scope on one test taken on one day of a student's life, measuring only the student's academic achievement and aptitude on that day. Likewise, the SAT measures a student's aptitude for college but fails to measure progress." So if a student is having a bad day and they go and take the ACT or SAT, that's not accurately reflecting their learning ability throughout high school career. It's only showing that day, which happens to be a bad day for them. All right, so not only does the ACT and SAT affect students, but it also affects high schools and different schools around the country. So the same website, Abolishing the ACT and SAT, says that schools receive funding from the state based on test scores, which seems pretty unfair. So the school system is going to do anything they can to get good scores, and that includes even taking class time out to teach standardized test-based material. Also, teachers' salaries can be affected by this too. So if students get a high score, if a teacher's students get a high score on standardized tests, then the teacher could have a better chance of getting a high salary. And then, the other way around with low scores. All right, so Van Thompson from The Classroom points out that if a teacher's students constantly perform well on a standardized test, he or she may become eligible for a pay raise. So just like what I said, they could get a higher salary or a lower salary based on their students' scores, which seems pretty unfair. So funding is detrimental for a school's success, but the ACT and SAT should not be detrimental for a student's success. And I'm going to show you why. So colleges should focus more on GPA and extracurriculars. So Maxwell Scratchen from Vice says that the Los Angeles Times says that research shows that high school grades, not the ACT or the SAT, are the strongest single predictor of a student's success. So this really shows that GPA reflects the most on a student's high school success rather than standardized test scores. So FAIR test says that many colleges are considering switching to high school grades when considering admission. So schools should consider switching to this method. All right, so now I'm going to show you why you should support this cause. So these colleges that rely on ACT and SAT scores should kind of weigh the differences between whether it's good or bad. They should definitely weigh those options. So first, I showed you how the admission towards ACT and SAT scores. Secondly, I showed you how high schools rely on test scores for funding for their schools. And then finally, I showed you what colleges should do to accept students instead of basing more on ACT and SAT scores instead of all of them together. All right, so since I've showed you all of these things, what are you going to do to help? What are you going to do to save millions of young students from going into debt? Thank you.